All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And boy, is this video going to be a doozy. Man alive, yesterday did the internet just erupt after James Gunn posted a photo of him and Zack Snyder. And my gosh, did people go nuts over this photo. And we're going to talk about what it means, but what I will tell you before we even get to that stuff, because it is going to be towards kind of closer to the end of the video, but, well, it's going to be scattered throughout, actually, because I grabbed photos along the way. So there's going to be stuff gathered throughout that we're going to talk about. But fact is, something is happening on Monday. There is supposed to be a big DC Studios announcement on Monday involving Zack Snyder. And we're going to talk about what this means, what it could possibly mean, and what it definitely doesn't mean. But let's take a look at the photos that I have grabbed since my last update. First up, Daniel Craig has dropped out of Sergeant Rock. He was going to be Sergeant Rock. It was pretty much a done deal, and he drops out. It says the actor is no longer attached to star in Sergeant Rock. DC is hoping to shoot the feature this summer and is already out to other actors. One name making the rounds is Jeremy Allen White, among others. This is a huge loss for DC Studios, guys, and no matter how you look at it, I have a feeling that Daniel Craig saw the script and said, yeah, no. Everything for the DCU looks to be goofy, and I am betting he saw the writing on the wall and said, I don't want to be attached to this, and they're moving on to other people. There's a big age gap between Jeremy Allen White and Daniel Craig. So it'll be interesting to see how this movie ends up. I just don't think it's going to do well, especially if they're going to put it under the DC Studios and it's part of the DC universe. I don't think enough people even know who Sergeant Rock is, and I don't think it has a huge following. Why they're starting with this movie or doing this and stuff like Clayface is beyond comprehension. Now, it was announced, well, first of all, there was something I didn't cover. This was going on during my recovery, but the studio, Rocksteady came out and announced, in the last game that it was the Justice League versus Suicide Squad or whatever, that they had killed off Batman, and Rocksteady kind of reversed that and said that it was a Batman clone, not the actual Batman. And then they announced that they are working on a brand new Batman Rocksteady game. And come to find out, there are rumors now that this is going to be a Batman Beyond game. And it says it will probably be a PlayStation exclusive and the foundation for a new trilogy. I would actually prefer this since Kevin Conroy has passed away. I'd rather them not do another, Batman game in the series that they've already done, the Night games. But I would love to see a Batman Beyond game kind of in that same vein. So I am actually looking forward to this. If you are a gamer, this is pretty cool news. More about Sergeant Rock, and this is according to Jeff Snyder. Sergeant Rock is a mid-budget movie that isn't supposed to be a long shot. It is designed to showcase the wide range of movies that DC plans to make in order to attract talent. Well, I can tell you that Jeremy Allen White is not as big a talent as Daniel Craig is. In fact, you lost big talent. That is for sure. And I'm not saying Jeremy Allen White is not a horrible actor, but he is not on the level of Daniel Craig. All right, so here is the photo that blew up the internet yesterday, and I saw so many goofy headlines. People were saying certain groups were getting upset, that the Snyder Tards are getting upset because this was posted. The Snyder Bros are all up in arms. Nobody was up in arms over this photo. And I'll show you what I posted to show you how ridiculous this is. And I'm going to show you where this picture was taken, and we're going to talk about what's going on. But James Gunn posted, always a pleasure catching up with my friend Zack Snyder, a consummate filmmaker and a doubly consummate storyteller. All right. So he posted this, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, the Snyder fans are going to have a meltdown. Nobody had a meltdown. It's so easy to take a picture with somebody and post it. You can see that James Gunn has the bigger smile than Zack Snyder does. Zack Snyder's just like, yeah, whatever. But there was a reason for this visit, and we're going to talk about that as we go through some of these screen photos that I've grabbed here. So this is what I posted. What's funny is this, because of the backdrop, this makes me look fat. But what you don't see is the background there in between my arm and my shirt. It's pretty funny stuff. But I posted this and I said, I had to post this on Twitter because I said, Alan Tudyk, such a good friend, fellow voice actor, and an amazing comedian. Always nice catching up with him. And I posted this just to show you that just because somebody takes a picture with somebody doesn't mean they're really friends. And actually, when I had this photo taken, I told him this was during when they were doing the Limitless show on one of the networks, and I told him I wanted the look of the boss, and it was pretty funny. He was a super nice guy. I love Alan Tudyk. He's an amazing voice actor, great guy. It was really fun to meet him and talk with him. And so I posted this just to show you that anybody can post a photo. It doesn't mean anything. But actually, the photo they did post actually does mean something, but it doesn't mean that they're friends. So here you go. Aaron S. Bailey posted this. He said, the news of what has just occurred in this room is going to shake comic book movie social media for weeks. DC Film News said, oh, I recognize this room. It's in that creatives room where they had met with all the people for the DCU. So this is where Safran, the producers, the actors, everybody kind of gets together and kind of mingles. So they had Zack Snyder in there for a reason, and we're going to see what some other people have said about this meeting. Now, also, when we were in there, in the last couple of days, someone posted something from this company called Quorum, this chart, and someone said, first of all, I have to address some of the commenters. They say I lie in my videos, and I've never lied about anything, ever, okay? And people will try to catch me. And there were 3 posts that I have done on Twitter, probably over the last 3 months, that I specifically put out there to rile people up, okay? The first was when I was begging James Gunn for screeners to Creature Commandos. People actually thought that post was real, that I was really begging James Gunn to send me a screener. There is no way that James Gunn would ever send me a screener to anything. But there are people out there that believe I posted that begging for a real screener. It was a freaking joke. It was a joke. And then when I was in my accident, I was talking about, I couldn't believe that James Gunn didn't reach out to me with good, with well wishes. Again, that was a joke. There is no way that James Gunn is going to take time out of his day to reach out to me. And then I posted this thing. I already talked about this in the last video. And at this stage, I don't even remember what it was. Oh, it was about the movie getting released a week after its release in theaters. Again, it was another post just to rile people up. And there are people that believe that I was actually serious in all 3 of those posts, and they don't realize that those were there just to rile people up. And it helps me weed out people I need to block and get rid of off of my timeline. And so somebody made a comment in my last video that how dare I not talk about this Quorum.com chart. And I'm not even going to share the chart, and I'm going to talk about why. So I had posted that I don't even know who Quorum is. Who are they? And I said, first of all, these numbers in these charts don't mean anything. What really means anything is the tickets that they sell to Superman when it actually gets released in theaters. Ticket sales matter. None of this matters at all. And I said, who is Quorum anyway? Now, come to find out, Quorum has been around, Quorum.com has been around since 2021. So they don't have a big track record of being correct, first of all. But somebody posted, I looked into Quorum.com. The long and short of it is they claim they use data, but don't provide any references to this data. And the vast majority of their info is developed in meetings where the public isn't doing any surveys or aiding in any real way. And so you cannot trust what these companies put out there. But some people took it as a way to say, oh, look at the engagement with Superman. Look at how high it is on the chart and how it's going to make $2 billion at the box office. If you honestly think that Superman is going to make $2 billion at the box office, you need to go get your head checked. The Batman barely made $700 million when it came out in theaters and is a bigger property than Superman for DC. There is no way this movie is making that kind of money, guys. It's just not going to happen no matter what any of these companies tell you, especially something like Quorum.com. Now, I just laughed when Sil posted this yesterday. So James Gunn and David Corenswet coming soon to a comic store near you, upcoming variant cover for Superman Unlimited #1. And of course, James Gunn is on the cover. Guys, I want to know, have you ever seen another director insert himself into so many promo materials? I'm beginning to think that this is a James Gunn movie with his dog instead of a Superman movie. James Gunn, there he is with his laptop again. They had him in the Creature Commandos intro. They have him here on this variant cover. They couldn't just give it to David Corenswet. They had to put James Gunn on there. And then there was this, and I forgot to talk about this in my last video, there was a promo video put out with Shaquille O'Neal with David Corenswet and James Gunn. And again, James Gunn had to make it about him. It's like, have you ever seen another director insert himself into so many different things like this during promotions? It doesn't happen. The guy is a narcissist. He thinks he's some kind of big celebrity. Let the actors shine. Let your movie shine. Get out of the freaking way. Also, Batman and Superman are being rebooted come September. I believe it's September, October, somewhere in there. We're going to have a Hush storyline. And then we've got a new creative team coming into Batman comics. And they're going to restart with Batman #1. Here is one of the covers. Batman is getting a blue and gray suit. And they have changed the bat symbol just a little bit here. And we're going to take a look at this. So here is the other cover. This is actually a pretty cool cover. I actually like, I don't think that looks horrible by any stretch of the imagination. But I do like the darker colors more. But, you know, every once in a while they change it up, and this is what they're going back to. And here's the post for it. It says, DC Comics announces Batman #1 comic book series from writer Matt Fraction, artist Jorge Jimenez, and colorist Temu More, and lettering by Clayton Cowles. Batman will have a new blue and gray costume, a new Batmobile, a new look for Gotham City, and it launches in September as soon as the Hush storyline finishes up. And if you guys didn't know, Hush Part 2 starts next month, and you want to get to your comic shop. There are a lot of covers. If you're into comics, there are a lot of covers. I'm getting 4 of issue #1. There's 3 Jim Lee covers that all combine. So I'm getting one of those, and I'm getting the Dan Mora cover for Hush #1, for Hush Part 2 #1. So there's some big things happening with comics. Between that and Absolute Batman, DC is doing some things right. But if you look at Wonder Woman, I don't remember what issue number came out this week. It had half a star. People do not like, I believe it's Tom Taylor, or Tim Taylor. I can't remember. It's one of the guys who's working on the DCU. Tom King. A lot of people don't like Tom King. And that story was by Tom King, and it is getting ripped. And he is a part of the DCU, so keep that in mind with the writing. Anything he's attached to is questionable. James Gunn posted about the Superman Unlimited #1. He said, bowled over to see this cameo cover of the new Superman Unlimited #1. Dan Mora adeptly captured my laptop stickers and piercing model gaze. You can pick this very special edition up at your local comic shop May 21st. Yeah. Now, they didn't get the Superman suit right again. It's tight-fitting. I don't know why every artist has to make it tight-fitting when it definitely does not look like that. Superman does not have those muscles showing through the costume. In fact, he has no definition to his muscles, according to the real costume. So that is not an accurate drawing. I do love Dan Mora's art. He's probably my third favorite comic artist. behind Jim Lee and the late, why am I forgetting the guy's name? He did the Supergirl series. His art is awesome. But yeah, those are my three favorite artists, and that's not accurate to the movie. All right. So via Grace Randolph, some big DC Studios news coming next week, supposedly on Monday, and that there is a secret meeting happening yesterday and today between Zack Snyder and DC Studios. She said, "All I know right now is there's some kind of private press event today, and then the news will be officially revealed early next week. Let's enjoy the surprise. I'm not going to ruin it if I find out in advance." And somebody asked, how big? Like Snyder big? Well, Snyder was definitely there. Again, there's the photo. He was there. So let's talk about what this means. First of all, I don't think it has anything to do with 300. He is doing that series with Warner Brothers, and I don't think it has anything to do with that. That's something separate. And I could tell you what it is definitely not. First of all, it is definitely not a project for the DCU. It might be a project for DC Studios, but I could tell you right now that Zack Snyder would never go anywhere near anything that they're doing with DC Studio or the DC Universe. Now, let's say it is something for the DC Universe. Let's speculate that maybe it is, which I think the chances of that happening are zero. The only thing I think I would want to see him attached to is Batman Brave and the Bold, simply because his Batman work in Batman vs. Superman was freaking amazing. He's had the best portrayal of Batman on screen, and I would love to see him. I think he was born to do a Batman film, okay? But that's not happening. I'm telling you right now, there's no chance he's going to direct anything for the DCU. Let's talk about what it could be. Well, if the studio was smart and they wanted to start mending fences with a fractured fan base, which is clearly fractured, then start an Elseworlds label and start with Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. That would be a good start. That would be amazing and would go a long way for goodwill towards the fans. If that's not it, the only other thing I could think of is Zack Snyder has talked about wanting to adapt The Dark Knight Returns as an actual movie, and that he would totally come back and meet with the studio to work on that project, and that he would want to bring back both Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck for a true adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns. All of these things are plausible, okay? Does that mean they're going to happen? Nobody knows what is going on behind the scenes, but everybody knows that Zack is back. If I had my choice on what was going to happen, I would want them to complete Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. I think that would go a long way on mending fences and helping people. But I could tell you that if they could be using this as a ploy, just to, a PR stunt to get people to go see Superman. Now, what's crazy about this is we had certain members of the YouTube community come out and say that James Gunn has been basically he's been trolling Snyder fans. Why would you want to do that and troll 90%, a huge fan base, let's put it this way, a huge fan base of DC who want to see those characters continue on in their story to get a continuation of the story that was already started? Why would you troll those people? And I'm not talking about the photo he just did, but with a lot of the stuff like the promo with Shaquille O'Neal and some of the other stuff. But then come out and post a video or a photo showing a meeting with Zack Snyder, being all cozy with him, trying to show that, hey, things are good. So why would you troll and then show things are good? That doesn't make any sense. If anything, all it does is just confuse everybody. And all we know for sure, as of right now, there is a meeting going on today. There was a meeting yesterday, and something big is going to be announced next week. Everybody's reporting on this. Big name people are reporting on this. You saw Snyder. You saw Grace Randolph. everybody knows that something is going on. What it is everybody's guess. I would hope it's Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. My guess would be it's for The Dark Knight Returns, but we will find out when that information and that reveal actually occurs. All right, guys, I'm glad to be back. I finally got my background back up, and I'm glad to be back doing these videos. I appreciate all the support. We will see you guys on the next video.